Hello friends, good morning. I welcome you all for today's session. So in today's session we'll be going through a problem on how to calculate the strain displacement matrix for an axisymmetric triangular element. Right, so I have noted down the problem statement for you. Just go through that. The nodal coordinates of an axisymmetric triangular element are given below. Evaluate the B matrix. B matrix is nothing but we call it as strain displacement matrix for that element. Right, we need to go through the strain displacement matrix for that element. Now he has given this diagram. In most of the cases he will be just giving us the coordinates 10 10, 30 10 and 30 40. In some cases he may name the nodes as 1 2 3, or in some cases he may not. Right, if he has not given the node numbering, first what you need to do is you need to number the nodes 1 2 3, and accordingly if it is 1, then these two coordinates are r1 and z1, these two coordinates are r2 and z2, and these two coordinates are r3 and z3. Why? Because this is r axis and this is z axis. Okay, now from this figure whatever I told you, the same thing I have noted down. R1 is 10, R2 is 30 and R3 is 30. So R1, R2, R3 all are in mm. Similarly for Z1, Z2 and Z3 all are 10, 10 and 40. Okay, this is what I have taken from figure. So this is the given data. Now I have been asked to calculate the strain displacement matrix. So I need to first write down the general matrix for strain displacement. Okay, if you go to derive this matrix, it is a lengthy procedure. So that is the reason the best way to tackle this is you need to remember this matrix. Okay, I am putting a star mark over here, which means that this is important and you need to remember it. Okay, when I say remember it, it is very easy to remember it. Now it is a 4 into 6 matrix, which is easy to remember. When I say 4 into 6 matrix, it has 4 rows and 6 columns. You can check out 1 2 3 4 5 6 and 4 rows. So in the first row you start it with beta 1, next you take it as 0, beta 2, 0, beta 3 and 0. So alternatively there are beta terms and 0 in the first row. Beta 1 0, beta 2 0, beta 3 and 0. In the second row it is nothing but the shape function of an axisymmetric triangular element. Okay, shape function is, that is what we have derived in the previous video. The expression, general expression was alpha 1 plus beta 1 r plus gamma 1 z. Okay, I am speaking about expression n1. You can just check out in the previous video, or if you have written it you can just check it there. n1 was alpha 1 plus beta 1 r plus gamma 1 z. Now that entire shape function I am going to divide by the term r. So in the first case it becomes alpha 1 by r, beta 1, gamma 1 z divided by r. Second term once again it is 0. Third term is nothing but shape function number 2, that is n2. That expression you divide it by r, so you will be getting alpha 2 divided by r plus beta 2 plus gamma 2z divided by r. Fourth is again a 0. Fifth term is again shape function number 3 divided by r, and sixth term is 0. So in the first row what you observe is the first element, after the first element, the second element is 0, third element is present, fourth element is 0, fifth element is present and sixth element is 0. So alternative elements are 0 in the first row as well as second row. So remembering beta 1, beta 2, beta 3 is quite easy, and this term which seems to be very big, it is nothing but shape functions n1, n2, n3. If you divide each term by r, in those shape functions you will be getting this term and this term, right? So that is how you need to remember the second row elements. And third row elements, it is the other way. Here element 2, 4 and 6 were 0. Here it is other way, element 1, 3 and 5 are 0, right? 2, 3 and 6 are 0. Here 1, 3 and 5 are 0. Remaining are gamma 1, gamma 2, gamma 3. And the last it is very easy to remember. It is a combination of gamma and beta in inverse form, right? We start with gamma, gamma 1, beta 1, gamma 2, beta 2, gamma 3, beta 3. So that is how you need to remember the terms, because if you just try to memorize it is very difficult. You need to find out some logic how to remember this, and the logic is this. In the first term and in the second row, first row and second row, the second, fourth and sixth elements are by default to 0. You can just check out second, fourth, sixth, second, fourth, sixth are by default 0. In the third row, 1, 3, 5 are by default 0. 1, 3, 5 are by default 0. So in the first row remaining are beta 1, beta 2, beta 3, and the third row remaining are gamma 1, gamma 2, gamma 3. In the second row remaining elements are nothing but shape functions which we have derived in the previous video. You need to divide each and every term in those shape functions by r, then you will be getting this term and this term. And at last it is a combination of gamma and beta, so it is gamma 1, beta 1, gamma 2, beta 2, gamma 3 and beta 3. Right? So I hope this is clear and it is easier for you to remember the logic now. Now this A is nothing but area of this triangular element. So we need to calculate the area. So I have taken where A is equal to, how you calculate the area, it is nothing but 1 by 2 determinant of 1 r1 z1, 1 r2 z2, 1 r3 z3, and A is area of triangular element. So you know how to calculate the determinant. Okay, so I have taken these terms plus, minus and plus 1 by 2. You know the values of r1, r2, r3 and z1, z2, z3. This is the first thing what I have noted in the today's class. The same values you need to substitute here. Then you take 1 by 2, plus 1 will be here, 30 into 40 is 1200, minus sign 30 into 10 is 300, minus 10. So you are leaving second row now, sorry, second column now. So it is 40 into 1 is 40, minus 10 into 1 is 10, plus 10, put a bracket, 30 into 1 is 30, minus 30 into 1 is 30. So this entire term becomes 0. If you resolve this, A comes out to be 300 mm square. Right, next we need to calculate the general coordinates, that is r and z. Why we need r and z? Because you can just check out here, I am making use of r and I am making use of z, but I am not having r and z. I am just having r1, r2, r3 and z1, z2, z3. So you need to calculate r and z. So r and z is nothing but it is the average of the three terms which are given. So r is r1 plus r2 plus r3 divided by 3. It comes out to be 23.334 mm. And z is z1 plus z2 plus z3 divided by 3. It comes out to be 20 mm. Right, so these are the coordinates or prerequisites which are required before we could proceed to calculate the strain displacement matrix. Now, if we just check out our strain displacement matrix, we need to know what are the value of alpha, what is the value of beta, what is the value of gamma, what is the value of r, and what is the value of z. Value of r and z we have calculated already. Now we need to calculate value of beta terms, value of alpha terms, and value of gamma terms. Right, so that is what is our task which we need to take up next. So alpha 1, how you are going to calculate alpha 1? Okay, now if you just go through these expressions, you feel that it is very difficult to remember these many terms for a particular problem, right? So it's not difficult. I'll tell you the logic, what exactly it is. You just need to remember 1, 2, 3. Come from 1 to 2, go from 2 to 3, and 3 to 1. Can you remember the cycle? It continues 1, 2, 3. Okay, if you remember this 1, 2, 3 cycle, then you just check it now. Alpha 1. Okay, the subscript here is 1. Always start with r and end with z. Okay, try to understand. What I am saying is always start with r and you end with z. Don't take the term as z into r. then this logic may not work out. So always take R and then Z. So here it is 1, R and Z, you just write it simply. So 1, the next continuation is 2 and 3. You have written 1, continuation is 2 and 3. So those 2 and 3 will come here. Minus. Once again you write R and Z. Whatever you have written here, 3 and 2, you need to reverse here. Here the subscript 3 was for Z. The second term it comes for R. And whatever is the subscript of R in the first term, it goes to Z. So that is how you are going to remember. So our remembering part is only here in this particular term. So if you write this term, you just need to swap the subscripts of R and Z for the second term with a negative sign. Right, so that is how you are going to write. Once again, I'll show you for alpha 2. So when I say alpha 2, I am here. Then the immediate terms are 3 and 1. So it is R3 and Z1 minus sign. I need to swap these two subscripts. So R1 and Z3. So R1 and Z3 with a negative sign. Similarly, if you start with alpha 3. So we are here at the third point. And the next terms are 1 and 2. So it is R1 into Z2. The next term is written with a negative sign and you are going to swap the subscripts. When I say swap, it means you are going to exchange the subscripts of R and Z. So R will have a subscript of 2 and Z will have a subscript of 1. Right. So if you are clear with this part, then it is very simple, because we are knowing the coordinates of R and Z. You just go on putting those coordinates and you will be getting the values of alpha 1, alpha 2 and alpha 3. Value will be in mm square, because you are multiplying two values which are in mm, so the unit will be in mm square. Right, so simplification part, you just look it out, because I already given you the values, right? So, and I have also calculated for you, and these are the outcomes what I have got. So that is regarding alpha 1, alpha 2, alpha 3 and how you are going to remember that. Right, the first term you need to remember and you need to write it in correct order, and you need to start with R and you need to end with Z. Right, so it goes in this cyclic manner. If you are going with alpha 1, the next two terms are 2 and 3, so it is R2 and Z3. For the second term to obtain, you put a negative sign, write the same R and Z values and swap these subscripts. Here Z was having 3, in the next term R should be having 3. Here R is having 2, in the next term Z should be having 2. Right, so that is how we are going to go with that. Next, you need to calculate beta and gamma. So let us start with the beta part. Okay, now here you need to remember that beta is always associated with the coordinate Z. Right? Beta is always associated with the coordinate Z, and gamma is always associated with the coordinate R. There are two ways of remember. Some people may remember that beta is always associated with Z, or the easier way is, you can just check out R and gamma. These are similar in their looks, right? So some people write R like this and some people write R like this. Okay, gamma and R are similar in looks, so you can just create a logic that those are associated with each other. So when gamma and R are associated with each other, it simply means that the other two terms beta and Z should be associated with each other. Right, now let me start with this part, beta part. So beta 1, it once again goes in this logic of the cycle 1, 2, 3. When I have started with beta 1, next two terms are what? 2 and 3. So beta 1, next two terms are Z2 minus Z3, because beta is associated with Z. For the second term beta 2, I am here, next two terms are 3 and 1, so it is Z3 minus Z1. Third term is beta 3, so once again the cycle continues. I am here, it should be 1 and 2, so it is Z1 minus Z2. Right, so you just need to follow this logic of cycle, then everything falls into its place. I repeat, beta is associated with Z, so beta 1, I am here, the next two terms are 2 and 3, so it is Z2 minus Z3. If you are writing beta 2, next two terms are 3 and 1, Z3 minus Z1. beta 3, next two terms are 1 and 2, so it is z1 minus z2. You are aware of these coordinates, put those respective coordinates, calculate, and the value will be in mm, right? Okay, now once if you are done with this beta part, let us go for the gamma part. How you are going to calculate gamma? Gamma is associated with r, right? Gamma 1, gamma 2, gamma 3, put an equal to sign for all these threes. Now it is inverse of whatever you have written here in beta. The first term in beta has a subscript of 2. Here the second term should have a subscript of 2. Second term here is having subscript of 3. So first term here should have a subscript of 3. So both are r terms. Here if it is 2 minus 3, it should be 3 minus 2. So that is why I am calling it as inverse. Here if it is 3 minus 1, here it should be 1 minus 3. Here if it is z1 minus z2, so subscript is 1 minus 2, here it should be 2 minus 1. Whatever you have written here for beta, you just need to reverse it, or if you need to inverse it in order to get the values of gamma 1, gamma 2, gamma 3 for r coordinates. Okay, be careful, it is for r coordinates. Once again I repeat, here it is z2 minus z3, so here it is r3 minus r2. 3 minus 1 is a subscript, here it is 1 minus 3. Here it is 1 minus 2, here it is 2 minus 1. So once again r coordinates are known, so you put those values and you get these things, right? So now we have calculated alpha 1 values, alpha 2, alpha 3, beta 1, beta 2, beta 3, gamma values, r value and z value. Now when all the values are known, you just need to substitute everything in this equation, which I have taken it as equation number 1. Right, so all these values are known. If you substitute every value what I have calculated, and if you just simplify, here I have just substituted, and value of area A was 300. So each term here in this B matrix I have divided by 600. So I will be getting a B matrix, which I call it as strain displacement matrix for axisymmetric triangular element as this. So it is a 4 into 6 matrix, 4 rows and 6 columns, right? So that's it for today's session. Thank you. Do subscribe my channel, share it with your friends. For any doubts, you can use the comment section. Just drop your query in that. I'll be replying for that. Thank you. Have a good day.